Grand Rising, everyone. This is Ron, November 1st, 2025. And Saturday morning, it's about a little after 10 a.m. Go ahead and get started. See if we have any questions or anything anybody would like to share.
I have a question. This is Kathy. See,
Hey, Ken.
Kathy. Hey, Ron. Y'all help me to understand who's in fault of the SNAP program. I mean, the Democrats are blaming the Republicans. Republicans blaming the Democrat. So help me. I hadn't really been watching it on TV. So help me to get a better understanding of who's in fault.
Anybody want to help her out? Anybody with any knowledge of that? A thought on it anyway.
Go ahead, Nick.
Hey everyone, just generally speaking, is is both Republicans and Democrats, but Republicans have more control over government right now. So is uh, the blame could mostly be placed at their feet for failing to fund this program, and that's the simple way of putting it. And the Democrats are sort of using the shutdown to point out that the Republicans don't really care about lifting the shutdown or doing any of the things that need to be done to maintain the health of programs like SNAP, etc. So in the long term, Republicans and conservatives, generally speaking, want to get rid of SNAP and all federal assistance programs, all of them. And the Democrats don't care enough to really fight in the way that they need to about it. But generally speaking, the Democrats are more willing to keep these kinds of things in place. But in terms of the blame for who's going to get blamed for these programs not being able to be funded very soon, I would like to say it's going to be mostly Republicans, but who knows? Their propaganda is very good. Well, as good as it needs to be, but that's a more political reading of this situation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree with you, Nick. The messaging from Republicans is excellent. Democrats don't know how to message at all.
Nope, because they have nothing to message about. Nothing.
Does that help you, Kathy?
Yes, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And just to keep going with that, it, as I said, it is the project of that whole mindset of what we think of as, generally speaking, conservatism, Republican, as it exists in America now, is to, as it has existed for a while, but it is to get rid of all government assistance and basically to long term get rid of the federal government, period, for the most part. They're not going to be able to do that because the impact will be too great in the near and midterm, but that is what they want. And that is partly why they are trying to get set up sort of and put in place a truly authoritarian structure, because as I've stated before, I think it's very unlikely that they, in the way that they exist now, survive past the baby boomer generation, generally speaking, which is why they are trying to tear it all down and get put in place as quickly as possible their real vision for what this they want this country to be. And that is in part what we are resisting, that mindset, because the mindset behind all of this is the the sort of true enemy of humanity, to not mince words. And that's not to say that government doesn't need reform, etc. But what we're talking about is the will to dominate and control everything that is not you. And that is what they want. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
To continue what you were saying, Nick, the this thing with the National Guard, training them to be a reaction force, rapid reaction force. That's not a small thing. That's just not a small thing at all. And to say that you can send anybody you want in militarily, that's not a small thing. What you're actually saying is that you're going to get your way no matter what, because the objective is to invoke the Insurrection Act if the courts rule against it. And that's one of the catastrophic things that I've been talking about. This is where the rubber meets the road. We are in that space right now where it is time to make your decision. You choose this day, whether you are going to continue your religious journey, believing in the government for deliverance of humanity, as well as you, or are you going to embrace the reality of the divinity that you are and make every effort to save humanity? That is the choice that you have to make today. When I mean by today, metaphorically today is what I'm saying. So those decisions, or that decision that must be made, is on each of us, because no one can actually make that decision for you. No one. And to say that you don't know what to do, you really don't. And the reason you don't know what to do is because we really don't understand the reality of who we are. What do I mean by that? George Washington Carver was a chemist, and little is known about George Washington Carver other than the peanut, and that he took walks early in the morning. Well, George Washington Carver took walks early in the morning because George Washington Carver knew what he received in the mornings during his walks. He understood the energy that he was receiving from the sun during his early walks. He understood that the sunshine, the energy of the sun, was full of information. And what he learned was not in the lab. Excuse me. What he learned was on his morning walks, and he applied what he learned when he got to the lab. So he understood that he was a melanated man, and he understood the essence of being a melanated man. Nobody wants to talk about that aspect of it. Why do I bring him up? I bring him up because some of us need to take a walk in the sun and experience what it means to receive information from the sun, to recharge ourselves as melanated people. And now is now or never, because we are at the brink of this catastrophic event that's in process. Everything that's being done in the White House is being done to house ultra rich people when all hell breaks loose. And we can sit back if we want to. And I don't mean us on this phone necessarily, to my people in general, can sit back if we want to and keep saying it's not going to happen, or keep saying he's just talking. You can keep saying that until the day that the Insurrection Act is enacted. And what's going to happen is the lower court judges are going to stay it, and they're not going to be able to invoke it until it gets to the Supreme Court. And if you think that the Supreme Court is not going along with Donald Trump, you got another thought coming. There's nothing in me that makes me believe that the Supreme Court won't undergird his desire to invoke the Insurrection Act. And the invoking of the Insurrection Act is for the express purpose of making efforts to force people of color in the streets. And the question becomes, if we stay out of the streets as we have, then what's next? How will they approach us if we are not out there? Well, we cannot let it get to that point. It is up to us to come to grips with who we are, and stop talking about it. Just be who we are. But I want to talk about that a bit more. But first, I want to see, if there are questions about this or anything else before we begin to talk about that, because this is what we are saying is definitely connected to the scattering of Israel. Or shall I say the scattered sheep of Israel?
Hey, everybody, this is Audrey. I just wonder if what's happening in England with former Prince, pedophile formerly known as Prince Andrew, does that have any connection? I think it does.
It does.
But I
All
don't
of this,
know.
this might be the straw that broke the camel's back, because they're not making any bones about it. The Andrews titles were taken away from him because of the Epstein, his interaction with Epstein and the rape of children. They are not making any bones about it. So if the king is taking his titles, and because of that, then that's speaking volumes about how real it is, as well as those other people who have been named, but not publicly have not had public information about their involvement. So yeah, I think this is a very, very loud message being sent. And Audrey, in addition to that, I do believe that this message being sent is going to be a part of the downfall or the interruption of the authoritarian plans that are in motion right now. Thank you. Any other questions? That helps you, Audrey. I mean, that was a response to your question.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of these gazillionaires are part of all of that.
They
They're
are.
also involved with Epstein.
Yeah. May I speak a little about why it is so important for us at this moment. What we have done for so long that makes it so difficult for us to truly embrace our nature. What we have done is subconsciously accept the image that we have been given by the oppressor as opposed to the image that we were created in. And when we accept that image, we defeat ourselves. What do I mean by accepting that image is when we embrace subconsciously or consciously that we can't make it without this economy, without the society, we have defeated ourselves. We live in defeat. And when we have our dependence on our incomes and on what the government does, then we live at the whim of the government as opposed to living according to who we are. And what I mean by accepting that image is not only the inferiority complex, but accepting that in order for us to be successful, we have to live in a certain neighborhood or live a certain type of lifestyle. That is defeat for who we are. When we put emphasis on our fears about not having enough to survive, that in itself is living in defeat. Every time we take a breath without having to totally embrace who we were created to be and the sun-driven melanin that grants us the wisdom that's necessary for us to be who we are. When we take every breath we take without that understanding, we are taking a breath in defeat. Because regardless of the abundance of melanin that's available, and that is, and its attributes of wisdom, etc., it doesn't matter if you don't embrace it. And what I mean by embracing it is embracing yourself. It is we who determines our frequency. Your frequency determines your journey, and your journey determines whether or not you have embraced who you are. There is a fork in the road, and we are at that fork in the road. We are at the point of decision. And until we make real decisions about who we are, and when I say real decisions, I'm talking about living what we talk about. Our wisdom does not come from books. Our wisdom comes from melanin. And that being our source of wisdom is also our source of creativity and our source for everything else in this earth that we were created to be. And it's up to us to make that decision as to whether or not we are going to become what we were created to be, or whether we are going to stay on the other side of the river. Is our choice. Melanin is not just something that makes us black, and it's not just a frequency that that's in accord with the universe. Even though that is true of it, it's absolutely nothing to you or me if we don't accept what it is about. Meaning that without melanin, we would not be the source of love and kindness, of forgiveness, mercy, etc. The source, the reason that this 3i Atlas ship, and I have forgotten about you, Nick. This 3i Atlas ship, the reason that it went behind the sun is to draw energy, is to get energy from the sun. And the hurtful thing is that everyone knows about us except us. And there are a handful of us who really, really seek to encapsulate the reality of our being. Too many of us treat this like it is a source of information. If this were a source of information, then we will have been wasting our time. This is a matter of life and death. And we have chosen life. And having chosen that life, we become the lifeline for not just humanity, but for everything that lives on this earth. Living at a higher frequency means shutting out this world and becoming who you were meant to be from the inside out, meaning that our priorities must shift. We talked about that a little bit last week, I do believe. And our focus must be on being Elohim, or divine. I want you to ask yourself, how deep is your belief that you are God? Do you still cringe when someone makes that statement that you are God? Can you say that to yourself without feeling uncomfortable? It's easier to say that I am a divine creature, or a divine man, or divine African. That's easy. But to truly say that you're God without feeling some kind of way is a bit more difficult than that, because of the indoctrination that we have received. And until we are comfortable with that, that means that we have not truly embraced the higher frequency that we are supposed to be living. And the higher frequency that we receive from the melanin is for the express purpose of balancing the earth. Our frequency is the only frequency that can save humanity, that can save life on this earth. We were brought here for that. As long as you feel some kind of way, when you say with your thoughts, say with your mouth that you truly believe you are Elohim. If you have problem with that, that means that subconsciously you have embraced the idea of being inferior to who you were created to be. And we've lived too long being inferior to who we were created to be. We have lived lives that would placate those who have oppressed the world. We have lived lives that has actually undergirded and given life to oppression itself. We have given the power and strength to it. And the ones who are the primary oppressors, and I'm not talking about Joe Blow that lives in a trailer with no windows and have no teeth. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the ones who truly run things. They're very much aware of who we are. And they are not afraid of losing their wealth. That's not the reason they hate us. They're not afraid of losing anything, their power. What they're afraid of is that we will become aware of who we are. Every single group of people on this earth knows that the African is God, except the African. The African is the only one who has a problem with that. And that's ridiculous to me. But I do understand the reason for it. But I don't understand the reason that we who have been on this journey together for so long, I don't understand how we can travel so long and dig so deep and be shown so much and still have a problem with that. I don't understand it. Maybe there is an answer to that. I don't know. And if it is, please stop me so we can get an understanding of that. Because I truly would want to know why is it so difficult for us to embrace what we've been talking about, what we've been taught. And please, some of you don't stop me because I'm, I guess, on the road. But please interrupt at any point because I truly want to know if you know the answer to that or have some understanding about the reason it is so difficult. And knowing that as a result of that difficulty, we only reap the whirlwind and we don't reap peace from the principles that God deserves. I simply want to know why. If there's anyone who knows, and then we'll talk about the scattering. Run.
I'm thinking while you're saying this, I don't know the answer to that. However, I will add something that may, I hope, enhance the question, the conversation here. The way we have learned, the way we have been educated, we can't see that. We haven't had experiences being God. And it's not, I would say maybe nobody believes it, but nobody fully knows how to engage it. And if I'm just thinking as you asking the question, our experiences don't go that far. And although what we have engaged in the last 3 years, 4 years, in particular, well, I guess 5 years now, in particularly, have changed those experiences. but somehow there may still be hesitation. The other side of that is, the part of that, in addition to, is the image that we think of, that we've been taught of God, uh, is not the same silhouette of me. And that also may be a contributing factor. So I'm just throwing some thoughts out there. So
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think too that we grabbed a hold of Christianity, religion in general, so fervently. Because we thought that was our spirituality in action. When we didn't know that spirituality had nothing to do with religion per se. But we grabbed hold of it so fervently because we thought that was what was going to save us from slavery, from lynching, from whatever. And I think now, I mean, I think I've gotten past this, but I had to work to get past it. It felt a bit like we were dishonoring those parents and grandparents and grandparents who had, worked so hard to teach us about religion and Jesus and blah blah blah, and had given up so much in pushing us to keep the faith, sort of. So I think it feels a bit like dishonoring those ancestors to give up religion. But I think once we realize that it wasn't that, even for them, it was more than just religion. It was the only way they had to express their spirituality then. Anyway, so I just feel like it's hard for people to move past religion because they may feel a bit like dishonoring their relatives. Plus, it is a real leap of faith to sort of step out there into the unknown too. And that's also hard to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to say, I think I kind of agree with Ron in that there are experiences that are possible in terms of, well, there are experiences that are possible that let you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are more than this physical being, and that your intention, that your the nature of the consciousness and awareness that you cultivate has a real effect, not only on your experience, but also in the experience that appears as external. And I think those kinds of experiences are those things that sort of convince you on a subconscious level that you are an incarnation of the creator and have the responsibilities associated with that, even if we are unaware of that responsibility. So I think it's I wouldn't say it's an issue of not believing, and what belief itself is another conversation as well, but that's definitely part of it. It is, I think, more so the lack of understanding of where to go in terms of experience, or what to seek within yourself, and the method by which that is even accomplished. Because the more experience you have with yourself, sort of beyond this, for lack of mundane circumstance, the more convinced, well, the more you will know that you are a spiritual being that is here to complete a spiritual mission. And it is not only just for, as we've said, like it's not only just for humanity in the sense that you should ever deny yourself or what it is you're going through. No, it's both. As you heal and evolve yourself spiritually, and sort of keep evolving your own experience, your ability to be a beneficial vibration and frequency for humanity increases. So they're very much connected, in terms of, where our focus is. I mean, on humanity versus on ourselves. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I do agree that it's difficult because of our previous journey with religion, our interaction with it, and how we grew up with religion. But I also see that it is truly our parents and grandparents who are pushing us to do this. The apparitions that we have of them, the messages that we receive from them, are the messages or the energy that's pushing us to embrace who we are. For, I think, what you say, Ron, last 5 years, maybe?
Yeah, for last 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
For that length of time, in the last 5 years, when you really think about it, we have been more intense in our teaching and more intentional than we have ever been, even with religion. Because with religion, it was a rehashing of everything that we've heard before all of the time. However, in the last 5 years, what we have been talking about has been a continuous process of becoming aware of who we are. We have been building upon what we have been shown along the way. In religion, there was nothing to build on. That's why we regurgitated the same things over and over again. Does that make sense? You understand?
Yes.
But this has been a continuous journey of insight and excuse me, the embracing of it is indeed essential. in addition to that, we won't have experiences if we don't spend time with meditating or spend time with ourselves. It's like the man who's watching the football game, and the wife says that, I need to talk with you. And he says, wait till after the game goes off. So he missed that experience. Instead of turning the TV off and saying, okay, let's talk at that moment. When we have things that we think are our priority and we are deeply committed to them, and we sense the need to meditate or to be still or to say no to what we are committed to in order for us to sit with ourselves, when we have that sense of it's now, and not put it off to later when later never comes because we are too busy. That is what helps us hold dearly to the priority of embracing the reality of who we are. And that power, that strength to do that does not come without challenge. There are always going to be challenges to your priority, especially when they are spiritual, because this material world, this material society is going to always present itself as being more important than what you're committed to. It's going to always stand, this society, the things in our environment are going to present themselves as being far more important than what we are doing, because we always say that we can do it later. And how many of us have said that, well, I'm going to wait till later to meditate, knowing you should do it at that moment, or I'm going to wait till later to do whatever, knowing that you should do it at that moment. Those are times that we have actually foregone the opportunity to have those experiences, to strengthen our self-awareness, and to discipline ourselves to prioritize spirituality no matter what. I say all of this because of what we are facing. The world is dependent on us. And when I say the world, I'm not just talking about the people of the world. I'm talking about the earth is dependent on us. I know that we have not experienced this before, so we don't know what it looks like. But there are several things in our lives that we have not experienced before and did not know what it was going to look like, but we did it anyway because it was a material thing. When you go to school to be a mechanic, you don't know what that looks like until you do it. We have to take that leap. And if you don't take the leap of faith, the leap of trusting, you will never, ever be settled in your knowing. Because trust leads to knowing. I trust my journey. And when you trust your journey and truly begin to see what your journey consists of, bit by bit, it is then that you are in a state of knowing. And when you are in a state of knowing, it becomes less and less uncomfortable for you to say to yourself, looking in the mirror or embracing the reality of your divinity, the reality of being Elohim. It frightens us because of what we have been taught that God does, or the attributes, when all of them have been wrong. What God does is what you do when you embrace that you are God. You become uncomfortable with religion and religious settings and rituals. You become uncomfortable with those. And there are times when you become uncomfortable with them. You begin to ask yourself, what can I put in its place? Nothing. You are its place. You are who you are. The ritual of communion is not something that you should be uncomfortable walking away from. When you understand, as the lady, excuse me, said in the video that is actually cannibalism, or is actually a ritual, because you're eating the body and or eating the flesh and drinking the blood. And you say, well, it's symbolic. It does not matter how symbolic it is. That's what you're doing. And your perception of eating the body and drinking the blood is your reality. And that reality has an effect. And the effect that it has makes it very difficult to embrace life itself once you know, or once you see what that is represented in real time, as opposed to what we have been told. There is no way that we can participate in that ritual of communion and believe that everything in the book is scripture, is spiritual. That there's no way we can do that. So we have to, as I said earlier, choose this day. Which pathway are we going to walk? Which direction are we going to travel in? That is a decision we must make. The reason that Masonry talks about when you do a handshake with a Mason, you ask you which way you travel, and the response is the east. And the reason they talk about traveling to the east is because the east is where the power is. East is where the energy emanates from. So you're always traveling to that source of energy. Masonry knows that, and Masonry, as a society, as a organized group, in the Western world, came from Europeans because they know who we are. They know our origin better than we do. The Bible talks about being scattered. It talks about the children of Israel, the builders of Israel, being scattered. It talks about the offsprings of Israel being scattered throughout the world. That has been co-opted by Eastern Europeans who call themselves Jews. They call themselves Jews, but they don't say anything about being Israel. The ground, the geographical location they called Israel, which is really in tune with their mindset. Everything to them is material, is physical. We must we must renew our thinking and have a clearer vision of what it means when we talk about Israel, in order to understand what the scattering is all about. When you look up the etymology of Israel, it says that those who are he that striveth with God. And in The basic understanding of that is he who striveth as God, not with God. Because when you strive as God, when you move forward, when you travel this journey as God, you also are traveling with God because we are one yet many. But you have to make application to yourself, traveling as God, before you can embrace the reality of traveling with God. That having said that, well, let me ask you, do you understand what I'm saying so far? Is it clear? And I do need a response to that.
It's clear.
It
Okay.
resonates.
Thank you. So when we talk about that, the question becomes, who has been scattered all over the world? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
Yeah.
Who has been scattered all over the world? It says that even with the Tower of Babel, it talks about God scattering them. It talks about Elohim scattering them, scattering those who think that they are God, or that they can reach heaven rather by physical means. You can't do that. It's cutting out the spirituality and embracing the religion. That when I die, I'm going to heaven. Or when I die, I'm gonna sit with Jesus. All those things are material beliefs that does not resonate spiritually when you become aware of who you are. So the one who has been scattered all over the world is Israel. Those who strive with God or as gods. Who has that happened to? The only people on this earth who have been scattered is the African. Think about this. To be scattered means that something moved you. To be scattered means that you did not move on your own accord. To be scattered means that something took place that forced you to be where you are. This is the physical scattering of Israel. Enslavement was the scattering of the seeds of Israel. Yes, we were the original people in this country, no question about that. However, the scattering of Israel was necessary because the earth had to experience the reality of the divinity of the African by virtue of the African having to create in his own image and likeness. And the image and likeness of the creativity of the African is the principles that the African lives by. And that those principles are not real to anyone if they are not real to the African. And the scattering has resulted in many of us being blinded to who we are. The scattering has resulted in many of us being ashamed of who we are. The scattering has caused us to lose sight of things about us, even the physical traits that we have, the traits that we talk about the melanin, but it's more than that. The trait, the hair. The only people on earth who has hair like the African is the African. And it's a known fact that the hair draws energy from the sun. It's an antenna. And the energy it draws increases the melanin that you carry and that you function with. The when we cut it off, when we lose, cut it off, when we use things in our hair, it does result in a deficiency of melanin, but that's not the only way you receive melanin. You also receive it through your eyes. The increases through your skin, and the idea of the melanin with your hair does not speak to just the melanin in the hair you're looking at. Is in the roots. The melanin is in the roots of your hair, and that is one of the strongest sources of it because it comes directly from the sun. When we embrace these realities, we strengthen our resolve to be who we are. And when we strengthen our resolve and understand that our skin is a brain, our skin is technology, because our skin, every cell of our body houses melanin. And we can see the difference clearly if we really think about it. We know what melanin deficiency looks like. If you look at your body that's clothed, especially during the winter, it's lighter. Why is it lighter than the parts of your body that's exposed? Is lighter because it becomes melanin deficient. And when your skin being darkened means that you are not only receiving melanin on a continuous basis, it means that you're also storing it. And this is the energy of Elohim. Being melanated is the energy of Elohim. We are the most melanated people on earth, and there's no question about it. I've said it before, but I need to repeat this maybe, that black is not a color. Black is a technology that brings all colors into being. It is a technology that allows colors to appear, because all colors come from black. But no colors come from any other color. No one can bring into life an African baby except an African. No one can bring into life a melanated baby except an African. But no one can create an African. No one, the Chinese cannot procreate and have an African baby. But an African has the potential to have a Chinese baby. No Chinese can have a baby, no European can have a baby that looks like an African. But if one has a baby with an African, you will know it, because the features of God does not change simply because they are intertwined with other people. So I say this morning it's a time for us to gird our loins, and all of this about melanin and wisdom and understanding who we are and embracing who we are is girding our loins for what is to come. The stronger we are in embracing what we believe, what we know the truth to be, the stronger we are, the more stable we are when we face these cataclysmic actions that we are going to face in the near future. And the foundation for it is being laid right now. And every day it gets closer and closer. And I'm saying that to embrace who we are grants us an anchor. It gives us the stability that is necessary so that we are not shaken by what our eyes see, but we are strengthened by what our eye sees and exposes. It is imperative that we make the choice to choose who we are in the journey we're going to travel. You can choose to remain indoctrinated and hold on to religion. That's fine if you choose to do that. But there are consequences to all of our actions. And there are struggles with all our actions. And those struggles include fear of what you are hearing is going to destroy you. Fear that the thing that sustains you, i.e., your job, your salary, you're going to lose that thing that sustains you. Those fears interfere with the embracing and the stability of your embracing who you are. Does that make sense? Is that clear, guys?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So there is no shortcut for us. I mean, when I say there is no shortcut, we have traveled this journey for years. The last 5 years have been intense, but that's not when we started the journey. The intensity of the last 5 years is necessary. It was necessary, still is. And COVID created the environment where we had to come together. And that's when the intensity started. That's when we started this journey in no uncertain terms towards this place where we find ourselves now in the midst of this chaos. It's up to us to make the decisions about who we are. It's up to us. If you choose not to, again, it's okay. You won't be condemned for it, even though you will struggle with it, but you won't be condemned for it. And we don't see you look at you any differently. You are who you are. We have an obligation not only to meet people where they are, but we also have an obligation to leave them where they are if they choose not to move forward. Yes, we leave the 99 to go after the one, but we don't abandon the 99 to stay with the one who doesn't want to move forward. We are obligated to continue moving along this journey. And it's not like we are going back to get someone. No, along the journey, there are those who we come in contact with. And the idea of leaving the 99 means that the principles that we're well aware of, we don't bombard them with them. We take them where they are and walk them up to where we are in terms of the travel and the journey. But we don't just stay there if they don't want it. Right now, I am getting calls and invitations about things that's going on in the church that I came out of. And efforts are being put forth to pull me back into the middle of that, because some things are happening that they feel like I cannot influence and reorganize in a manner that is beneficial to that body. But I don't see any benefit to that. And I will not be pulled back into that. I've offered what I know spiritually. It's been rejected. So it having been rejected, I have nothing else to offer. to other than spirituality. And I'm saying I'm not going to be stuck there in that spot with people or a person who does not want to move beyond where they are. I am obligated to move forward. There are sheep who needs to be fed. There are sheep who are in need of being protected. There are sheep who are in need of a place of stability. There are sheep who needs a shepherd to be there for them, someone they trust, so that they are not afraid to bow their head to eat. They're not afraid of the dangers that they were afraid of beforehand. We are those shepherds. That's who we are. And we are the fence around the sheep. We are the one who's obligated to protect the sheep. But we can't protect the sheep if we don't know what it means to be a shepherd. And we can't know what it means to be a shepherd if we don't know that we are Elohim. So we've been scattered for a reason. We have been scattered to bring our children home. We've been scattered to rear our children so that they will understand who God is and that peace is real. Peace. This earth has experienced peace. And it's time now for this earth to have that experience again, so that life in this earth can cease its crying and become filled with joy and happiness, because we have undertaken our responsibility, knowing that we are Israel. We are the ones who strive as God as well as with God. I'm done unless there are questions.
No questions, comments? Thank you. Well, is that it? And anybody have anything to add? If not, we'll.
Let me say this, Ron, before we go, please.
Okay.
Melanin is the magnet that connects us with the ancestors. Melanin is the technology that connects us. Melanin all is the energy that makes us one with each other and the ancestors. Melanin also is the channel that we're on, so that we can receive from the Akashic consciousness. Melanin attracts Akashic awareness. Melanin attracts ancestors. And I'm hearing right now the truth in what I said about our parents and our grandparents are the ones who are primarily guiding us, pushing us to walk in spirituality and not in religion. Those who have gone before us struggled to make a way for us to be able to do what we're doing. And I'm not talking about the physical things that we have acquired. I'm talking about the spiritual being. I'm talking about knowing who we are. They struggled. They fought to hold on to spirituality as much as they could. The price that they have paid, not only in the physical abuse that they received, but the price that they paid trying to hold on to the spiritual essence of their being while at the same time being inundated with religion and feeling guilty, being made to feel guilty if they did not embrace Jesus as it was presented to them. Being called blasphemous for saying something that is antithetical to what religion says about Jesus or God. When crossing to the other side, when exiting the body, they begun to understand that we live the life of blasphemy when we live the life of religion, because blasphemy speaks to being separated from the source. And we live the blasphemous life, not because we wanted to, but because we did not know any better as a result of the abuse that we received. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, as we have been taught, is not real. Blasphemy is living a life of religion, being spiritually separated from the source because of how we think, because of how we've been taught to think, because of the rituals that keep our focus on religion and away from spirituality. Being taught that the dances that we do that's called shouting, that these dances were a result of experiencing the presence of who you really are. And they were not done simply because the music was playing, even though music played a role. It's not done because the Holy Spirit shows up. The Spirit is always with us, otherwise we would not exist. So all of these things they knew about us, and they flipped the script in order to weaken us. And our forefathers are saying to us, we have gone through what we have gone through. We have looked forward to this day, the day of reckoning with ourselves first and redeeming humanity so it can be free from any oppressive nature, thought, or being. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, uh, that sounds like a perfect place to stop and reflect and ponder for a while. So we'll resume Sunday, 11 a.m. And please remember, teachers, that we have California tomorrow at 3, okay, our time. Have a great day. Yes, sir.
Please, nobody get off right now, please.
Okay.
Don't forget to set your clock back.
Thank you. to,
Do you want me to keep recording?
yes, it doesn't matter one way or the
Okay.
other. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
To the ancestors, we're grateful for how you guide us. And because of your guidance, we have become stronger and more aware of who we are. And because you have shown us that we are indeed creators and guided us in our creating, we say thank you. We're grateful for the Akashic consciousness that we have been made aware of and that we are receiving. Our desire is to continue this journey in fullness. Your pain and your suffering, we not only are aware of, but we feel it, we experience it. Let this day be a renewing of our minds, a renewing of our commitment. I say to all of us today, open your hearts even wider and be infused with the strength of self-awareness, the wisdom that is in the rays of the sunlight. The mind that is filled with an understanding that we've not yet experienced. Be still long enough. Be still often enough to feel who you are, to experience your origin. Be still long enough to know what your priority is. Saying it and knowing it are two different things. So I say to each of us, let your words of spiritual life be your spiritual life, and let your spiritual life be the way you walk in this earth. Ashe.
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 Okay.
Shay.
Ashe.
Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Hey.